Disneyland is ready for two holidays that are going to collide, and there's signs of the park getting back to its old times. Halloween starts today, and we have some tips to make sure that you don't get tricked on coming to the park the wrong time during Oogie Boogie Bash. Plus, our last call D23 predictions and why you really do not want the PeopleMover to come back. It's your weekly Hey Brickey Disneyland update news of everything new that's happening at the Disneyland Resort this week. Greetings, fellow citizens of Disneyland. Brickey here with today's weekly update. What do you say? Let's go all around the Disneyland Resort, make some D23 predictions, and show you everything new that has happened right on the edge of Halloween. Our first D23 prediction location is the Walls of Toontown. Now, as far as my D23 prediction for Toontown, I do believe that they'll try to make a big deal out of what's coming. And maybe we'll get a couple of announcements that we weren't given in the initial rollout, which is on the road to D23, right? So I have a feeling circling back around to the second event, we'll probably get some tips, and they're gonna lean heavy into Toontown because it's something that's already happening. It gives them the ability to roll out some news they haven't shared with us, keeping a little acorn in the tree for a rainy day, which is D23, which I believe they're gonna be a little light on Disneyland news this time because they're gonna be talking a lot about what's happening at the other resorts as well as the 100th anniversary. So I would say that it's very safe to assume we'll get more details on the reimagining of Toontown. And I'm very excited about this project. Our friends over at Mice Chat have been doing some aerial photos of what's happening over there, and the project's coming together so amazingly. I've always enjoyed this part of the park, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway coming out to the West Coast is really gonna bring more people in here and give us a much needed additional e-ticket attraction. Who knows, maybe a D23 that might even show us what those extra scenes are inside of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I believe one or two extra scenes are coming out to the West Coast. Hopefully they're themed around Disneyland in California, two of my favorite things. Our second prediction location is sadly the controversial Splash Mountain redo. Obviously expect some big announcements about Princess and the Frog taking over Splash Mountain. It's kind of where my mind is at, that they're gonna go with some quicker, easier wins and finally give like that last level of details until it goes down for construction, probably at the end of this year or early in January. Typically the attraction goes down every year for an annual refurbishment because of all the water damage, and I think this one will be the one where it goes down and stays down until it returns as Princess Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Critter Country, I could see them talking all about Tiana's Bayou Adventure. New Orleans Square though, New Orleans Square is dialed in. I don't see any announcements about that, but there is an announcement we should anticipate for Adventureland, which is this bad boy, which I know I say this all the time, but they've worked on this longer than it took them to build the entire Disneyland park in 54 to 55. What a fun fact. My long shot odds, maybe something new comes inside of the shooting gallery, the last remaining shooting gallery at the Disneyland Resort. But other than that, I can't really think of too many other things that would come to Frontierland. But yeah, if they're to do anything, I feel like the shooting gallery's days are probably numbered because of where we're at as a country. Let's hop over to Fantasyland and talk about some potential quick D23 wins. If the current administration is looking for another quick Fantasyland win, I could see them announcing that they're going to redo Pinocchio by redoing the lighting package, maybe adjusting the storyline, just like we saw them do with Pinocchio's neighbor, Snow White, which used to be a very terrifying attraction, which was softened up for today's youth. A story that's a little bit more easier to understand too, if I'm being honest. So yeah, I could see that being a quick win and something that this administration would definitely roll out on the table and kind of oversell to you. I mean, do you get that I don't have high expectations? Hey, Mickey. Hey, look who it is. That was awesome. And I got to do a Hey Mickey. So I will say if D23 is to affect Fantasyland, the number one thing I could imagine is that Autopia could be either A, going away, or B, getting severely downsized so that across from the Matterhorn, we could see something like a Frozen installation, or what I would prefer would be the Beauty and the Beast attraction that we've seen over in the Asia parks. I could see Arendelle being in a nice little spot across from the Matterhorn, creating a nice little Norwegian village, having two peaks offset each other. And really, if you think about your view from this plot of land, kind of all you see is Matterhorn. What I will tell you that I could never see coming here would be Tron. Tron is too tall, too big for this park. It doesn't fit inside of our Tomorrowland, and I don't think that you would want it here. It's a ride that lasts a little bit over a minute, and that canopy could compete with the sightlines of Sleeping Beauty's castle. So if I would envision any announcement to happen in this plot of land, I give it a coin toss. It would be that this parcel of land would become more of Fantasyland. And if you think about it, if the submarines stay for a while, because they just rethemed them to Pixar, that is kind of a nice transitional piece to go from Finding Nemo over to Frozen or Sleeping Beauty, and then into Fantasyland proper. Don't forget, the Matterhorn is the one thrill ride that exists inside of Fantasyland, so it would just be more fantasy inside of Disneyland, which this is one of the most popular lands in all the resort. So adding more to it, I would be in favor. There's also the Scott Toll Bridge image that we saw that was in this area. A lot of people took that to think that the PeopleMover's coming back, and I really pray that's not the case. Let me explain why. Now, the number one reason why I think we shouldn't want the PeopleMover to come back is because committing to the PeopleMover is committing to Tomorrowland. Committing to this layout, these buildings of Tomorrowland, many of which over its 60 plus years have sat empty for decades. Some of them still do sit empty. So I think that bringing back the PeopleMover is a cheap Band-Aid to a very long-term problem. I really hope it's not the case, because all of Tomorrowland is in so many different levels of disarray. Different color schemes, different textures, different errors. It is not cohesive at all. Bringing the PeopleMover back is saying Tomorrowland is going to stay this way at least for another decade, and I'd rather see them put no money into it and expedite what we all know is eventually going to have to happen, a complete rebuild of Tomorrowland. So therefore, if you're to ask me, do I think that the PeopleMover's coming back? My answer is, could be, but I hope not. I mean, really hope not. You're still gonna be in this broken down land that is just a relic of past ideas, past conceptions, and I think it would be best just to save that money and build a better tomorrow. Prediction of it happening? Quite possibly, because this administration is cheap enough to think that that is the winning solution when you know it's a temporary fix to a long problem.
And in my short walk to the heart of Tomorrowland, my Imagineering heart was broken.
Breaking news into my D23 predictions. I am now going to say, regrettably, that the PeopleMover is coming back, because they just released concept art of the DVC lounge that's going to be going in this building right here. Why would they be putting money into this? Because the PeopleMover goes through it, and the PeopleMover goes through all of these buildings, and these buildings need something for people in the PeopleMover to be able to see. And the best thing that you do, and I know this as a business owner, is you create FOMO. So if I want to become a Disney Vacation Club member, riding by on the PeopleMover and seeing a lounge I can't get into, it maybe sweetens the pot. Also, as we know, there's a DVC tower that's being built over at the Disneyland Hotel. So it's a 1-2 punch of, we now have more rooms, we now want to create FOMO, fear of missing out, and doing that on the PeopleMover is the perfect way. They wouldn't be putting money into this if they weren't bringing the PeopleMover back. So this is what I'm going to do. Monday, on my construction video, I'm going to break down to you why the PeopleMover coming back is not a good thing. I know a lot of people tell you this is the greatest news ever. I'm going to be the one to tell it to you straight. It's meh news. It's what we call a short-term win to disguise a very long and complicated problem. More on that Monday. Let's get back to our D23 Predictions and giving you a view of everything new happening this week at the Disneyland Resort. Had to bring you this breaking news because I kind of feel defeated and cheated, and it feels so weird to feel this way about a new attraction at the Disneyland Resort. I'm a weird fan.
Do me a favor, before calling me entitled or ungrateful, watch Monday's video and see if I can't convince you. As far as resort-wide predictions go, we do have the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company that's coming up next year. But they can't really squeeze out an attraction in time for the 100th anniversary. What they could do though is take Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and label that as a 100th year attraction. I could see them doing that move, something that's already in the works. They could easy relabel and adjust because, you know, they lost a couple of years of production due to the pandemic, like we all did. But the other thing I would anticipate is the 100 years being celebrated at Disneyland through shows. Maybe we'll get a new nighttime show, maybe a parade, maybe something like what they did at Walt Disney World, where they had the gold figurines all throughout the park. You only turn 100 once, and man, did they strike out on the 50th anniversary at Walt Disney World. I will be at Epcot rope dropping for the 40th anniversary of Epcot, and I really hope that they learn from dropping the ball on the 50th of Walt Disney World, and they bring it for the 40th of Epcot, as well as they bring it for the 100th of the Walt Disney Company, because like I said, 100 only comes once, and it's a long and bumpy road to get there, so I hope they celebrate it appropriately. I love that so much. Let's hop over to DCA and find some DCA D23 predictions, where I don't think there will be many at all. Let's hop over to Avengers Campus, our best bet for something big to be announced for DCA.
The big prediction for DCA has got to be Avengers Campus e-ticket. I feel pretty good that this could end up getting announced because they're already in production of it. It's not something that they have to start from the drawing board, and they don't have to say it's going to happen in the next year. They can just give a product update of it happening in the next 3 years. However, if they wanted to go with a calculated guaranteed win and they wanted to replicate Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, that also fits in the space that's back here. So maybe the ambitious dark ride that was designed in a different time with a different budget, maybe that's a no-go, and maybe they replicate the successful attraction out at Epcot that's getting glowing reviews. But either way, I do believe that the big Disneyland announcement is going to be what's happening in this space right here. Friends, last week for the second week in a row, I put a challenge out to you. Subscribe to the channel that I'm working so hard on, and to reward me with that, I would reward you with a $1 donation to Children's Hospital of Orange County, and I did that to this amount, over $260, which brings us to the total now of nearly $400 we've been able to donate to Chuck because you subscribe to Hey Brickey. But I'm going to keep it going one more week, so subscribe and donate $1 to Children's Hospital. But here's the thing that's fascinating to me. Over 52% of the people that watched last week's channel are not subscribed, which roughly calculates to over 4,000 people that hate sick kids. Why do you hate sick kids? All you gotta do is hit subscribe, give a sick kid $1, and become a part of the community and make a difference. Is it that hard? Is it that hard to do? I don't know. Seems like a sweet deal to me.
Friends, that is my last minute D23 predictions of things that I feel are on the conservative side. I feel like this is going to be a D23 where they're going to try to scrounge up, as I kept saying over and over again, quick wins, things that they can easily announce that they've already put money and time into to try to make this D23 look as ambitious as possible, even though it was constructed during some of the worst of times. And keep in mind, as I said in my standalone D23 predictions video, this is Bob Chapek's and Josh D'Amaro's first real opportunity to show us their own playbook on how they see the Disney parks growing and evolving. I've tried to be very cool and keep my opinions to myself about Chapek and D'Amaro, but this is it. They're now out of Iger's shadow. They've already ran his playbook. It's their moment to step up, take the reins, and I ambitiously am rooting for them to do the right thing and put a ton of money into the parks and let it keep growing, because due to social media, the Disney parks are on a golden renaissance right now, and it would be a shame if they just keep using the parks to fund other parts of the corporation. So I'm rooting for a big, ambitious D23, and I hope everything I said is just the small potatoes, because something big that we can't even envision right now gets announced that's going to reshape the way that we enjoy the attraction for decades to come.
Let's jump back over to the gates of Disneyland, where the Fab Five have showed up just in time to greet us all as we celebrate Halloween at the Disneyland Resort starting today and running through October 31st. It's a cool teaser for the Pumpkin Festival waiting for all of us on Main Street USA, and if you look closely, I fully enjoy the texture applied to these resin molds. I enjoy they don't exactly look like our best buds. There's enough pumpkin in the design to make it feel real, as if it's something organically you would see at a Halloween carnival in your favorite small town, and my favorite small town happens to be Disneyland, California.
Yeah, look who's back. Look who's back inside the park again. Amassing long lines of people wanting to get that perfect Halloween pick. This side of the street is always the faster line to get a pick with Pumpkin Mickey. And really, you can't see the castle in the other direction, so in my mind, it is the better photo because you can see the top of the Disneyland Railroad above you. But yeah, love seeing that dude back, as well as all the pumpkins up and down Main Street USA. It's almost time to play pumpkin ball. And if you're a longtime Hey Brickey viewer, you know what pumpkin ball means. It's the best sport of the Halloween season at the Disneyland Resort. Love seeing all these pumpkins everywhere on Main Street. It's so awesome. The Halloween tree is back. Yeah, I love the Halloween tree in Frontierland so much. Maybe it's time to put one in my own front yard.
Look at my silly hat right here. Hey, buddy.
All right, so with Halloween coming, here's something you got to keep in mind, that the park runs differently. If you want an empty park and you want to rip rides, early mornings for the month of September and October, that is going to be your friend. If you show up in the evenings, the park is going to be way more crowded because everybody knows Halloween and nighttime go like peanut butter and more peanut butter. So therefore, if you're looking for empty times, come during the day. If you're looking for Halloween vibes, come at night. Now, another thing that you gotta keep in mind, how Oogie Boogie Bash affects Disneyland. Nights that people don't have tickets to Oogie Boogie Bash, the only park that's available to them is Disneyland. So therefore, if you're gonna come out to the park and you're a local and it's in your control, know that OBB nights are gonna be packed inside of Disneyland, because this is basically the only place people can come that don't have passes for Oogie Boogie Bash. But also keep in mind to look at the OBB dates inside of the calendar, because if you don't have a ticket for Oogie Boogie Bash, you're gonna have to leave DCA at 6 o'clock. Not a total loss though, because you'll notice a lot less people go to the park on those days because of it closing early at 6. People coming in from out of town aren't gonna buy a full day ticket to get Bankers hours. So therefore, OBB offers an advantage to get an empty DCA if you do rope drop to 6 o'clock. But also keep in mind, yet again, another rule with OBB, it does allow people to get into the park 3 hours before the event starts. So around 3 o'clock, you're gonna see DCA get overloaded as there's 2 tickets colliding. Regular day tickets and OBB people that are trying to get in early. And then also at that time, there's gonna be a huge merger of people going over to Disneyland. So that's sort of your forecast on how to manage the next 2 months, because 23 nights of Oogie Boogie Bash definitely affects both parks in some good ways and some bad ways. Easy to plan out what it is that you're trying to make happen for you and your family. You just gotta have a plan and look ahead, because it'll sneak up on you, it'll surprise you, and you're like, why is it so empty, or why is it so crowded? Duh, there's 3 parks today: Disneyland, DCA, and Oogie Boogie Bash.
Let's hop over to DCA, where some new Halloween decorations have shown up. And like I said, it's not that hard to manage the next 2 months. There's some advantages and disadvantages. You just got to look at the calendar and figure out when Oogie Boogie Bash lands. Dr. Facilier got pushed in a whole different spot than where we saw him last year. I do not know what this is from, but you probably know the movies better than me, so you have an educated guess. But definitely seems like the treat trails this year are going to get a little bit mixed up. I felt like the last 2 years they were pretty much the same, but the last 2 years, or last 3 years, had the pandemic, the Thanos snap, right there in the middle of it. So it makes sense they probably just went with what they had the year before, but now having a full year of operational and having all the staff there and costuming, we're going to see some new villains showing up this year, which is going to make Tuesday night's opening night so much fun. I'm so excited. I'm going to be there.
At time of publishing, this is scheduled to be done, but that looks like a lot to deconstruct and take apart by tomorrow. I guess this is the moment when I apologize for spreading the false rumor about the Monsters Inc. Halloween overlay. It was a good dream. It was a good dream to dream, right? It was good to be excited, even though ultimately looks like it probably isn't going to happen. But a Disneyland fan can always dream. Holy pandemic, Batman. It's been a long time since I've seen DCA this open. Coming up through Hollywoodland, it's pretty wide open. Disneyland was like average, average amount of attendance. But man, oh man, hooray for Hollywood. I got it all to myself.
Na 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 Disneyland.
Yeah. How great is that? It's all here. Tomorrow's the first official day of Halloween. And man, I am pumped up for fall.
Tonight is the official opening of Halloween at the Disneyland Resort, but Cars Land, seeing it all come together, all of our familiar decorations, it kind of reminds me, and I think you'll know what I'm talking about, when you go up to the attic and you're like, there they are. There's all the Christmas decorations. There's all of our old friends that help us realize we've made it through another year. We did it, baby. Me and you, with the world falling apart, we're here and we're celebrating a harvest. Maybe we're not farmers. Maybe we're just celebrating the harvest of our lives, that the world has gotten back to normal, and that this Halloween feels a lot better than 21 and a billion times better than 2020. I'm not saying the park feels like 2019, but I'm saying this feels way better than 21 and a whole lot better than 2020. And I love that they use things like this is a Mr. Toad vehicle, the chains with the moss hanging off of them, everything in Cars Land, like the little faces back there in the oil canisters. Everything has a purpose. It tells a bigger story. And I think that's the key of decorating. You take everything that you already own and you just tune it up a little bit. Trunk or treat. I like that they hang this banner over it to make it look real. Someone had predicted, what if they're putting Hollywood sign up on top of Radiator Racers? Could you imagine if up there where you can see the scaffolding, what if it said Happy Halloween in Hollywood style letters? That's not going to happen, but man, that's a great dream and a great idea. Thank you, viewer, who got me so pumped on that. I might not always write back, but I always read the comments and I appreciate them. Oh, mijo, it's time to drink the cocoa so the skeleton can finally turn into a boy. Oh, do I love the story of Coco. That little skeleton, he'll be a real boy this Halloween. I guarantee it. I do love that this back corner of Pixar Pier, Paradise Gardens, is such a rad place. And look, I found a hidden Mickey there on the pant leg. This has become a cultural part of the park. I really enjoy this back sleepy corner, and this brings in so much life, so many vibes. I like coming back here during Oogie Boogie's Bash, chilling out for a little bit, maybe going through my new assortment of candy. But this part of the park really shines during both Halloween and then in the holiday season as well. Yes, I don't come here to ride all the rides. I come here just to look at the flowers blow in the wind and think about everybody that's going to have a good time with their family and friends. Hey, that rhymed. Friends, tell me, what is your favorite part of Halloween at the Disneyland Resort? What is your favorite thing that you like to go and do? And I know that Haunted Mansion's great, but give me something other than the Haunted Mansion holiday overlay. Let me know where your favorite vibe spot is, or that favorite spot that you like to go and hang out with your friends.
Friends, it's finally possible to walk into Disneyland and get that photo of you in front of the train station with nobody around. The only downside is that the walls are up, completely covering Floral Mickey, which I have a vibe. I was able to spy with my little construction eye that this is more AstroTurf going into the Disneyland Resort, as we see the Disneyland Turf War keep going on rapidly. We've seen turf in the planters of Main Street, USA, and now we're seeing the artificial turf, potentially, I feel 99% accurate, pop up around Floral Mickey, which I believe will make it easier for them to change out Floral Mickey for regular Mickey, Halloween Mickey, Minnie during Women's Month, and possibly could this have something to do with Disney Plus Day coming? Remember, they covered the entire front of Disneyland with blue carpet for Disney Plus Day, so who knows what these walls are all about, but I do love seeing progress at the Disneyland Resort. Let's jump around the park and see everything new that's happening this week.
Oh, but wait, the turf war continues in New Orleans Square.
And we are one day away from Halloween kicking off, and as you can see, we were right on our AstroTurf prediction. That's what's inside of here. The turf war at Disneyland continues. Disney moving over to an artificial grass to lower their use of water, but also probably lower their maintenance use. All you gotta do is vacuum it and repair it every so often. It's not cheap. AstroTurf is not a cheap thing at all, but compared to the water usage and how much they actually manicure and take care of their lawns, I bet it will be a savings for them in the long haul, aside from having a consistent look always. Look at this. Disneyland is well prepared for the long lines. I gave you some tips in last week's video on best time to ride the Haunted Mansion. I'll just repeat it real quickly right now. Early in the morning, late at night, or opposite of Halloween fireworks or Fantasmic. You got to find one of those competitive edges to get in here, as well as Genie Plus. Remember, Genie Plus, you get one ride per attraction with your lightning lanes, and I do expect with lightning lane being around this year, as well as DOS happening and ride breakdowns, the standby line is going to be really, really long, so you might want to use one of those 4 tips. Early in the morning, last at night, opposite of fireworks, opposite of Fantasmic, or Genie Plus if you want to spend the money. By the way, friends, coming for you this weekend, I will have a complete guide to all things Disneyland Halloween and a second video for you that is all things DCA Halloween. These are going to be a guide that you can watch that will show you literally everything Halloween that's happening, as well as pro tips on how to navigate the best Halloween experience for you, regardless if you're going to Disneyland, DCA, or Oogie Boogie's Bash. 3 different videos, 3 different guides to help you make the best Halloween possible when you come out to Disneyland this September or October.
That's right, friends. As part of our Halloween coverage, look for videos this Saturday and Sunday to guide you through Halloween.
Finally, we see Silhouette Studio reopen, and friends, I have what I feel is a great Silhouette Studio art project that I'm going to pull off here. Look forward to that in the video to come. I think I have a great idea for a very unique Silhouette Studio portrait that I've never seen anybody else do before, and it's a keepsake that I'm really looking forward to. But I do believe a Silhouette Studio project is in our near future, and one that you'll easily be able to replicate yourself to get what I believe is going to be a phenomenal piece of Disneyland memorabilia / merchandise.
Are guided tours back? If so, that's awesome. One little step showing that all things are so close to being completely back to normal from 2019. Friends, thank you so much for taking this lap with me all around the Disneyland Resort, looking at everything that's new and making some last minute D23 predictions. I want to thank all my friends at Club 1313 for making this video possible, and you as well. So friends, until the next time I hear you say, hey Brickey, I'll see you real soon.